Hello Unlimited friends, it's Zehra back again with Q&A about the law of attraction and its practical application to our lives. This question was posted under one of my videos by YouTube user. Her name is not available. Beautiful picture though. And her question's really good, and this is why I wanted to answer it here with a video. She says, I love watching your videos. You explain law of attraction so well. Thank you, my dear. Why is evaluation so bad when manifesting? I notice that when I control my thoughts and only think positively, the situation would start to improve. But as soon as I think it's improving or getting better, therefore evaluating the progress, I get thrown back to where I started. Such a good question. The answer is really much simpler than you could imagine. And this is something that happens a lot to people. This is why they find it difficult to make progress in using law of attraction. So here's the thing. It's about your power of focus. We understand about law of attraction that whatever we think about expands, becomes more, and manifests. So imagine that this is the subject, let's say, of money. This is the subject of money. You want to manifest more money. And you came across law of attraction and you started understanding that you have to think positive thoughts in order to manifest more money. So you made a decision. And you said, okay, I'm only going to think positive thoughts. So let's make this the cap end of the stick, the positive end of the emotional scale on the subject of money. So this is the subject of money. Every subject has its own emotional scale. This is the subject of money. This subject has two ends, the lack of money and the having of money. The more you think positive thoughts, so you know that I divide the emotional scale into two halves. This is the worry line in the middle. Below the worry line is negative thought, and above the worry line is positive thought. So you become someone who practices positive thinking, and you start spending all your time on this side of the emotional scale on the subject of money. And so your money situation starts improving. And then one day you wake up and you say, oh my goodness, this is so wonderful. I needed $10,000 and I already have $5,000. But you see, what happens is, as soon as you notice that your goal was 10,000 and you're at 5,000, even though you've made progress, you are now noticing the absence of money, which brings you don't realize that you're going to the negative side of the emotional scale, but that's what's happening, because now you are celebrating having 5,000, but while you're celebrating having 5,000, you're noticing the absence of 5,000. So your energy gets split, and to the extent that you notice how far you still have to go, you end up putting more emphasis on the negative side of the emotional scale. And when you do that, your manifestation slows down. So remember this. Every subject, Abraham says this over and over again, every subject is two subjects, the having of it and the not having of it. Law of attraction doesn't give you more money when you think about the subject of money, because the subject of money is divided into two subjects, the having of it and the not having of it. And the result that you get depends on how much time you spend on this side as opposed to how much time you spend on this side. And this is how splitting of energy happens. And when you split energy, you cannot move forward. And if you spend too much time on the wrong side, then you actually start moving backwards rather than moving forward. So the best thing for you to do is simply to stop thinking about the subject of money. If you let the subject go, this is where Abraham says, get off the subject. Because if you let the subject go, you drop the subject completely, now, sure, you're not thinking positive thoughts about it, but you're also not thinking negative thoughts about it. And the most powerful thing, the secret in all of this that I am bringing to you today, the nugget, is that if you stop thinking, don't worry about it, because your inner being will never stop thinking, and your inner being always thinks from the positive end. So if you stop thinking about the subject of money, now you're not pulling against your inner being. And if you just drop the subject completely, that's trust. Trust that I can't do as good a job as the universe, so I'm just going to let the universe, which is my inner being, do the work for me. I'm going to remove myself completely from this picture because I don't need to think about this subject. And when you do that, your inner being does the work for you, and now the manifestation takes place. And this is why Abraham teaches us that it is way easier to get off the subject than it is to work on the subject. Because working on the subject means you have to make an effort every single day, every moment of the day. And this is the reason why we should never evaluate our progress. We should never evaluate our progress, because when we evaluate our progress, if we are not emotionally stable, we can notice the absence of what we want, bring ourselves down the emotional scale, and end up doing ourselves more harm. Now, you can do evaluation from the top of the emotional scale. The evaluation from the top of the emotional scale creates more excitement. It's saying, oh my God, I'm so close. I can get there now. That is evaluation coming from the positive end of the emotional scale, and it will not take you down the emotional scale, and it will not throw you back. It will not throw you back. It will, in fact, bring you closer. The only type of evaluation that takes you further away from the thing that you want to manifest is evaluation that is done from a negative place on the emotional scale. Easiest thing is, don't measure. Just tell yourself, I'll know when I'm there. In the meantime, I don't need to figure it out. I don't need to think about it. All right. So I hope that this answers your question fully and completely. And I hope that you'll keep those questions coming, because I love the questions. And before I close off, let me just tell you a little bit about the work that I do. So as a result of applying the principles that I teach over here on YouTube, in my books, my talks, and my coaching program, people who feel lost or have given up on their dreams are able to figure out how to remove the obstacles on their path and start accomplishing their personal as well as professional goals. I'm looking for people who are ready to transform their lives by working with me, so that they can bring peace into their hearts, more love in their lives, and more money in their bank accounts. Who do you know that might benefit from working with me? All right, folks, I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye for now.